Hi students, I'm Mr. Funman, and I'm your lecturer for this module, CM3261, Environmental Chemistry. Today, we'll be talking about this topic, soil and agriculture, and this is our reference based on the textbook by Beckett and Alvita, 2013. You can find me for consultation here at this address. Now, the objective for this topic is you should be able to explain the importance of soils to agriculture, outline the major developments in the history of agriculture, soil formation, soil physical and chemical properties, to analyze the causes and impacts of soil erosion and land degradation, and of course, knowing the environmental properties of soil. Now, soil is the foundation for sustainable agriculture. As the human population has grown, so have the amounts of land and resources we devote to agriculture. We can define agriculture as the practice of raising crops and livestock for human use and consumption. We obtain most of our food and fiber from cropland, land used to raise plants for human use, and from rangeland or pasture, the land that's used for grazing livestock. Today, we command more than 1 out of every 3 acres of land on Earth to produce food and fiber for ourselves. The rangeland covers 26% of the Earth's land surface, and croplands covers about 12%. Now, healthy soil is vital for agriculture as well as for forests and for the functioning of the Earth's natural system. Soil is not merely a lifeless dirt, People always think of soil so lowly. It is actually a complex system consisting of disintegrated rock, organic matter, water, gases, nutrients, and microorganisms. Productive soil is a renewable resource, and once they are depleted, soil may renew itself over time. But renewal generally occurs very, very slowly. So if we abuse soil through careless or ununiform practice, we can greatly reduce its ability to sustain life. Now, for this reason, healthy soil is a key component of sustainable agriculture. Agriculture is very important. So, sustainable agriculture allows soil to renew its nutrients content and retain its character from one crop to the next. It also requires reliable sources of clean water, minimized use of fossil fuel-based fertilizers and pesticides, healthy populations of pollinating insects, sustenance of genetic diversity, and arguably genetic modification. Now, because most farming and grazing that people have practiced so far have depleted soils faster than they form, it is imperative for us and for our civilization's future that we develop sustainable methods of working with soil. Now, based on this importance of agriculture in the different points stated, we should know why we should find out a bit more on soil. Soil supports agriculture. Our agriculture relies on healthy soil in several ways. Crop plants depend on soil that contains organic matter to provide the nutrients they need for growth. Plants also need soil with a structure and texture suitable for roots to penetrate deeply. And plants need soil that retains water and makes water and dissolve nutrients accessible to the roots. The livestock also depends on the soil with these characteristics because the livestock, like the cow, the horse, not unicorn, they eat the plants that have grown on the soil. And if the soil becomes degraded, then the agriculture suffers. It makes sense, right? Because everybody in our society relies directly on the agriculture for the meals that we eat. Most of us are omnivores. We have animals. We have veggies in our meal. And we also depend on them for the clothing we wear. So the quality of our lives is closely tied to the quality of our soil. Now, healthy soil has sustained agriculture for thousands of years. And when people first began farming, we know that they were able to make advantage of deep, nutrients-rich topsoil that had built up over the past years. But today, we face the challenge of producing immense amount of food from soil that has been farmed many times. And at the same time, we also need to conserve its fertility for the future, our next generations, and many generations to come. So before we examine the soil closely, let's step back and consider how agriculture came about in the first place, from the very beginning, and how we got to where we are today. This is a quote from Globe 2005, Importance of Soil. Soils are one of the Earth's essential natural resources, yet they are often taken for granted. Most people do not realize that soils are living, breathing worlds supporting nearly all terrestrial life. What are your thoughts on this? Now, during most of the human species' 200,000 years of existence, we were hunter-gatherers, depending on the wild plants and the animals for food and fiber. Then, about 10,000 years ago, as the climate warmed and the glaciers retreated, melted, people in some cultures began to raise plants from seeds and to domesticate animals. They reared them in farms purposefully because of the growing population. Now, evidence from archaeology and paleoecology suggests that the agriculture was invented independently by different cultures in at least 5 areas of the world. So here we got a map of the world, at least 5 areas, and possibly 10 or more. Now, the earliest widely accepted evidence for plant and animal domestication is from the Fertile Crescent near the Middle East, with at least 10.5 thousand years ago. And by studying the ancient crop that remains, scientists have determined that the wheat and barley came from there. So for rye, peas, lentils, onion, garlic, carrots, grapes, and other crops. So if you have the luxury of going to the Middle East for a trip or study trip, you might find that those diets revolve these kind of dishes: the rye and pea, onion, garlic, carrot. Now, the people in the Fertile Crescent also domesticated goats and sheep. So it is no wonder that you don't find other animals for food, but mainly goats and sheep. Now, in China, domestication began 9,500 years ago, and that led to the rice, the millet, the pigs that we know today. The agriculture in Africa, where they have coffee, very famous coffee, yams, sorghum, and in America, the corn, beans, squash, potatoes, they developed in several regions about 4,500 to 7,000 years ago, and much likely, it can even trace back to like 10,000 years ago.